Hello and welcome once again to another lesson. What kinds of models do scientists use? Models and science. Scientists make models to investigate questions and to explain conclusions. So again, scientists use models in order for the questions to be answered and explain conclusions. In science, a model represents something real that is too big, too small, or has too many parts to investigate directly. In short, a model is a representation of something real. For example, our solar system is too big to see all the parts at once, so scientists make models of it. Scientists use models of the solar system to investigate the motion and positions of planets and moons. When we say motion, it is the movement and position, which is where they are located, the planets and the moons, and how they move in relation with each other. Models can take many forms. First is a mental model, which is a picture you create in your mind. It is something that you think of, something that you visualize, something that you form in your mind. That's why it's called a mental model. Mental means relating to the mind. Next is a two-dimensional model, which has length and width. I guess you know the two dimensions that we are talking about here, which is the length and the width. That's why it's called two-dimensional model. In short, this is also what we call 2D model. It can be a drawing, a diagram, or a map. What are other models scientists use? A three-dimensional model. This time, it has the length, the width, and the height, which makes it three-dimensional or 3D. Next one is a scale model, which tells how much smaller or bigger the model is than the real thing. Model trains often are scale models. Again, when we say a scale model, it tells us how much smaller or bigger the model is than the real thing, or it is kind of comparing the model to the real thing if it's smaller or bigger than the real thing. A computer model is a computer program that models an event or object. Some computer models make you feel like you're actually moving through space. If you think of the VR or the virtual reality, so that is more like it. Weather models save lives. Data from space. Satellites circle our planet 24 hours a day, sending images and other weather data back to Earth. When we say satellites as a view, it is something that moves around another bigger object, just like our moon, which is smaller than the Earth and it circles around or it moves around our planet. That's why it is called a natural satellite. But in this case, these satellites move around our Earth to send images and other weather data back to the Earth. These data are called real-time data because scientists use the pictures almost as soon as they are taken. Using models, meteorologists use satellite data to make computer models of weather. Again, what are meteorologists? Yes, these are scientists that study about weather. They model hurricanes, tornadoes, and thunderstorms. These models are used to predict how and where storms will start. So the images or the data being sent by the satellites are now being used or being fed to the computer in order for the computer to model hurricanes, tornadoes, and thunderstorms. And when these models are created, then they will be able to analyze and to study this and later on predict how and where the storms will start. And then the weather forecast will take place in order to warn us and to save our lives. So everything is related with each other. Getting the word out, weather reporters also use models. They make two-dimensional maps for TV and internet viewers to see. So if you have watched reporters while they do their reports, they have different models, or in this case, two-dimensional maps, or for some probably they have three-dimensional maps that they use in order to make their weather reports and give us the forecast. The maps can change to show how fast and where bad weather will be. And for our summary of what we learned today, a model represents something real that is too big, too small, or has too many parts to investigate directly. Again, in short, a model is a representation of something real. There are different kinds of models. First is a mental model, which is a picture you create in your mind, something that you visualize. Next is a two-dimensional model which has length and width. It can be a drawing, a diagram, or a map. And then three-dimensional model which has the length, the width, and the height. A scale model tells how much smaller or bigger the model is than the real thing. Model trains often are scale models. A computer model is a computer program that models an event or object. And lastly, weather model, which is using satellites, computer, and weather maps in order to warn us and to save our lives. So I hope this lesson is very informative to you, and I hope that you also enjoyed listening to this presentation and watching. I will see you again in our next lesson. Have a nice day, everyone.